Hey, you lovely lot. Welcome back to Crime Analyst and the Intelligence Cell. Now, I really wanted to just explain my reaction to the Dalai Lama and the post that people have now seen, which is a video of the Dalai Lama in India with a child, a little boy who he had kissed on the lips and then asked the child to suck his tongue. And I watched this clip actually before anybody was really talking about it. And I felt so repulsed and upset by what I saw. This is a safeguarding issue. And I felt compelled to do a video about it because it is a safeguarding issue, because it's Child Abuse Prevention Month, and because it's such an important topic. And it's an important topic to me, not just as a mum of a toddler, but as a professional. And also it's important because children don't always have the words and the language to explain what's going on. You see, sexual abuse is an adult phrase. That's not something that's in a child's language or vernacular. And therefore we have to read children. We have to read their body language, and it's incumbent upon all of us to do that, particularly us as parents. Okay, so I just want to explain a bit more about what happened in this video. And I feel that strongly I wanted to make a video and talk to you all about it. Whether you're a parent, whether you're a godfather or a godmother, whether you're a best friend, whether you work in safeguarding, or if you're a professional, or if you just have children's best interests at heart, then this is for you. So the Dalai Lama, this was in India, as I said, and what happened prior was that, bearing in mind the video was on, there were cameras and microphones, and the Dalai Lama proceeded to kiss the boy on the lips and then put his head to the child's head. And then he directed him to suck his tongue. He put his tongue out and directed him to suck his tongue. And at that point, the boy recoils. So he moves his body backwards, which if I had no audio and if I knew nothing about what was said, I would know that this child is reacting to something on a cellular level. Now, it's really important when a child or any of us react on a cellular level. What I always say to everybody is trust your instincts. Your reaction is the right one. Do not allow others to reframe things for you or for anyone else. And why I'm saying that is because a lot of people are reframing things about this event, including the Dalai Lama. And I have no truck with that whatsoever. I'm going to explain more. So first of all, the fact that the Dalai Lama is His Holiness, he's in a position of huge trust, right? So we understand that the grooming can occur with someone even before they start the grooming. So he's in a position of trust and he breaks the physical barrier. So by planting the kiss on the lips of the child, he breaks the physical boundary. And that physical boundary is important. So once you've got someone touching, that contact, that's about eroding the boundary, and it's about normalizing contact. But he wasn't just content with that. He then said to suck his tongue. Now, when the Dalai Lama tells you to do something, it's an instruction, a direction. It's not a request. But the boy recoiled and he was confused. He was repulsed and he was conflicted. And then what he heard, as did I, were people around him laughing. What I want to say rationally and calmly is that a child will then check with the other adults to see what's normal and what's not, to gauge the reaction. And the fact that people laughed diffused that moment and may have reframed it in that child's mind and may have minimized it and normalized it. And that's not okay. Always, always trust your instinct and your first reaction to something, your gut. We have more brain cells in our stomach than a dog has in its head. And that's for reason. And when I posted about this happening, some people jumped on my Instagram and said things like, well, perhaps he's got dementia. Well, my answer to that is, if he's got dementia or some kind of, maybe he forgot where he was, well, that's instructive too. Because if he forgot where he was and he's doing this, who else is at risk? And how many people have been at risk before? How many other times has a blind eye been turned? That's instructive to me, that even when someone starts to excuse or give reasons for why, and there was a panel on CNN and somebody said that, well, perhaps this is cultural. Well, absolutely not. You think child abuse is cultural? No. So, and if the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, is that holy, why doesn't he read the room and understand the temperature? That's not okay. And the problem with saying, even someone defending it by saying it's cultural, is that that's a paedophile's dream. That, oh no, we don't see it as that. And by the way, paedophile means lover of children. No, this is an act of love. So we get into all sorts of problems once the cultural defense, or someone says, well, I just didn't see it in that way. I love children. And this is just an act of love. It's not sexual. That's what most paedophiles say, by the way. And when you understand grooming, and I do believe that there's an element of grooming here in the position of power and his abuse of that power. And that is not okay. The camera's on, the mics were on. The fact that he just did this with no concern for the consequence tells me he may well have done this before. I don't believe this is a one-off event. Then I became even more concerned, and I looked online to see what the Dalai Lama or even his handlers may have posted. And I want to share with you what was posted on his Twitter feed, and it was this. A video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting when a young boy asked His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public before cameras. He regrets the incident. Now, this response is even worse, in my professional opinion. And it's worse because, firstly, he says that he's apologising to the boy, well, it's a child, and his family, and he's apologising because his words may have caused hurt. No, it's not his words, it's his action. And it wasn't about asking for a hug. It's okay to ask for something, but could the boy have denied him? I don't know about that, but that's not what this was about. So there's been a reframing and a distortion about what this is. So there's a denial, there's a distortion, and there's a manipulation, and there's gaslighting. That's not what this was about. The last part, saying His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, well, minimizing it to something that this is just a playful thing that's been misunderstood. No, absolutely not. I trust what I saw with my own eyes, and I will not take that reframing of what happened. That's his reframing, that's his words, his narrative, but that's not what we saw. And to say he regrets the incident, well, it's not just an incident. That denotes it's a one-off, and that he regrets it. Well, how about he regrets it having been seen by other people and others like me calling him out? You see, it's really not okay. This is grooming and manipulation of us and gaslighting and him trying to control the narrative. And for me, the apology is denied. I don't accept that apology, and the child and his family shouldn't either. So this needs to be investigated. He needs to step down. This is not okay for him to be His Holiness and just to say, oh, well, nothing to see here, everybody move on. Other people defending him, that's not okay either. I will look to them. Anybody who thinks that this is okay, you are a part of the problem here. And perhaps you don't think safeguarding children is important. Perhaps you don't think that a child should have their own autonomy, their own bodily autonomy, but I do. And I read the signs and the behaviours and the actions and the words from the Dalai Lama of this apology, non-apology, are not congruent with what happened. And there needs to be accountability. You see, without accountability, the sorry is meaningless, and it really is an apology, non-apology, but without change, without action. And for me, this is about accountability. If we don't have accountability, nothing changes, and that's not okay. Owning it, accepting responsibility, and taking that accountability is so important, and we have to hold others to account. And I won't stop advocating for women and children. I will not stop advocating for children. They need us to stand up and to be strong. And when people are commenting on this situation, whether it's on a news outlet, please speak to an expert, because we see this sort of thing, this type of behavior all the time, and it gets minimized and reframed. And grooming is something that happens in plain sight all the time. And like I said, children do not have the language to be able to explain what's happened. And it's on all of us. We must be the ones that read the signs and say, no, this is not okay. So I'm going to end there just with a reminder that this wasn't affection. This isn't something that's funny. This isn't something that's about culture. And yes, we do have to be culturally sensitive at times, but that does not mean that we are morally blind and that we turn a blind eye to safeguarding. It won't happen, not on my watch. So I'm going to end there. This is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we all have a role to play, not just this month, but every month. So until next time, be curious, ask questions, and always trust your instincts.